She said, "I accidentally burned down your restaurant, but insurance will pay $3 million. My life's work, and the insurance had lapsed 3 days earlier." I replied, "These things happen." Then investigators found she'd done it deliberately to cash out, except there was no cash. When she got 15 years for arson and insurance fraud, original post. I, 52 male, am writing this from what used to be my office, now just an empty room above what was my restaurant. 28 years of my life went up in smoke 3 weeks ago. Literally. My business partner Veronica, 48, called me at 4:37 a.m. I'll never forget the time because I thought someone had died. "Tommy, there's been an accident. The restaurant, there was a fire. It's gone." I drove there in my pajamas. Fire trucks everywhere. The building, my grandfather's building that I'd converted into Tommy's Italian kitchen, was a blackened shell. The sign I'd hand-painted myself was melted plastic dripping onto the sidewalk. Veronica was there, tears streaming. "I'm so sorry. I was doing inventory late. Must have left something on in the kitchen. But don't worry, the insurance will cover everything. We had that $3 million policy, remember?" My chest tightened. About that policy. See, 3 weeks prior, I'd gotten the renewal notice. $8,400 annual premium. Business had been slow, supply costs through the roof. I'd meant to pay it, kept meaning to pay it, but I'd put it off. The policy lapsed 3 days before the fire. 3 days. I didn't tell her that right then, just nodded. These things happen. She hugged me, sobbing about how sorry she was, how we'd rebuild bigger and better. All I could think about was the 72 hours between that lapsed policy and this moment. My entire life's work, uninsured, gone. But something felt off. Veronica doing inventory? She hadn't done inventory in 5 years. Always said it was beneath her position as co-owner. She managed the books and marketing while I handled operations. Why would she be there at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday? I went home, couldn't sleep, kept thinking. The more I thought, the less sense it made. Then I remembered our security cameras backed up to the cloud. The physical system was destroyed, but the footage from the past 30 days should still be there. I logged in at 6 a.m., started scrolling back. There was Veronica arriving at 11:47 p.m., normal enough, but she wasn't carrying inventory clipboards. She was carrying 2 gas cans. My blood went cold. The footage showed her methodically pouring gasoline throughout the dining room, the kitchen, the bar area. At 2:13 a.m., she lit a roll of paper towels and tossed it. She burned down my restaurant. On purpose. Update 1. The investigation begins. I sat on that footage for exactly 1 hour. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, but the calculated way she'd done it, the tears, the performance, this wasn't impulse. This was planned. I called my lawyer, then the fire department's arson investigation unit. The investigator, Detective Rodriguez, watched the footage with me. His face went from professional neutral to genuinely angry. "Mr. Castellano, I've seen insurance fraud before, but this is particularly cruel." "She doesn't know the insurance lapsed," I said quietly. He looked at me. "She destroyed your uninsured property thinking there was a $3 million payout coming?" "Appears so." "Why would she do this?" That's when I started piecing things together. Veronica had been pushing hard for us to sell the building to a developer 6 months ago. They'd offered $2.8 million. I'd refused. This place was my grandfather's legacy, my life's work. She'd been furious, said I was being sentimental instead of smart. She'd also been living way above her means. New BMW, condo in the expensive part of town, always traveling. The restaurant was profitable, but not that profitable. Her 40% share wasn't funding that lifestyle. Detective Rodriguez took copies of everything. "Don't contact her, don't hint you know anything. Let her think the plan is working." That afternoon, Veronica texted, "Meeting with insurance adjuster tomorrow at 10 a.m. Need you there for forms." I replied, "Can't make it. You handle it." "Tommy, we need to file ASAP. The sooner we file, the sooner we rebuild." "You handle it. I trust you." The irony of that last text wasn't lost on me. Next morning, I get a call from Veronica. She's hysterical. "The insurance company says the policy lapsed. How could you let this happen?" "I know. I'm sorry. Money was tight. I was going to pay it this week." "This week?" "Tommy, do you understand what you've done? We have nothing now. The building's destroyed. There's no insurance money. We're ruined." I stayed calm. "These things happen. These things happen. I lost everything in that fire. My office, my records, my mother's recipes were in that safe. Her mother's recipes, right? Her mother who'd been dead for 15 years and never cooked Italian food in her life. We'll figure it out, I said. She hung up on me. 20 minutes later, she called back. Different tone. Sweet. Calculated. Tommy, I'm sorry, I yelled. I'm just stressed. Listen. I've been thinking. That developer, Morrison Group, they approached me last week, still interested in the land. They'd probably still pay $2.5 million even with the fire damage. We could split it and start over. There it was. The backup plan. I'll think about it. Think fast. They won't wait forever. Detective Rodriguez called that evening. We've been looking into your partner's finances. She's in debt up to her eyeballs. $180 in credit cards, behind on her condo payments, BMW's about to be repossessed. And get this, she took out a $500 life insurance policy on you 6 months ago. I nearly dropped the phone. She did what? You're listed as business partners, so she could do it without your signature. Guess if the fire didn't work out, she had a plan B. Update 2. The trap. The next week was torture. Pretending everything was normal while knowing Veronica had literally tried to cash in on my life's work, and possibly had worse plans if that failed. She kept pushing the developer deal. Texts, calls, even showed up at my apartment with contracts. Tommy, be practical. The building's a tear down now anyway. Take the money and retire. You're 52. You've worked hard enough. I need time to process, Ronnie. She didn't like that. Process? While our debt piles up, the loans on the restaurant equipment still need to be paid. The vendors want their money. We need this deal. Our debt, our loans. Funny how it was my responsibility when the insurance lapsed, but our problem now. Detective Rodriguez had been building the case. They'd found she'd researched how long before building burns completely on her laptop. She'd bought the gas cans with cash 3 towns over, but they had her on CCTV. She'd texted her hairdresser friend about coming into money soon a week before the fire. She'd already put a deposit on a condo in Miami, but they needed her to do something that proved intent to commit insurance fraud, not just arson. We need her to file a false insurance claim or make a written statement about the money, Rodriguez said. The arson's bad, but with insurance fraud, that's federal. That's serious time. I had an idea. What if she files a claim against the building owner's insurance? See, technically I owned the building personally and leased it to the restaurant business. The building had separate insurance, which was active. But that only covers structural damage, not business losses, Rodriguez said. She doesn't know that. She just knows there's another policy. We set the trap. I sent her a text. Found out building has separate insurance. Meeting with adjuster Thursday. Need you there to verify losses. She bit immediately. How much coverage? $2 million structural. Finally, some good news. I'll prepare our loss statements. Thursday came. The adjuster was actually an undercover federal investigator. Veronica showed up with a briefcase full of forged documents. Inflated inventory lists, fake receipts, even a fictional catering contract she claimed we'd lost worth $200. She signed every form, swearing under penalty of perjury that it was all true. They arrested her in the parking lot. Update 3. The unraveling. Veronica's arrest was something. She went from confused to angry to bargaining in about 30 seconds. This is a mistake. Tommy, tell them. Tell them what, Ronnie? That it was an accident. You know I'd never... I saw the footage. Her face went white. What footage? The cameras were destroyed. Cloud backup. The look in her eyes. Pure rage. You knew, you let me, you set me up. You burned down my restaurant. She lunged at me. The officers had to restrain her. As they put her in the car, she screamed. It was your fault. You wouldn't sell. You wouldn't see reason. That place was dying anyway. That stung. Because part of it was true. The restaurant had been struggling, but it was my struggle. My decision to make. Her lawyer, some slick guy named Peterson, had her out on bail by evening. Then the real entitlement started. First, she called my mother. My 74-year-old mother. Mrs. Castellano, Tommy's trying to destroy me over an accident. You know I loved that restaurant like family. Please talk sense into him. Mom called me confused. Veronica says you're having her arrested over the fire? Ma, she burned it down on purpose. On purpose, but she said, there's video, Ma. She poured gasoline everywhere. Silence. Then, That witch burned down Papa's building? Italian mothers don't forgive. Ever. Next, Veronica went to our mutual friends, told everyone that I was scapegoating her for my failure to maintain insurance, how I was vindictively destroying her life because I couldn't handle losing the restaurant. Some people bought it. Lost a few friends who thought I was being too harsh and should consider it was an accident and think about all the years you worked together. But then the news broke about the life insurance policy she'd taken out on me. Public opinion shifted real quick. Her boyfriend, oh yeah, forgot to mention she had a boyfriend I didn't know about, dumped her immediately. Apparently, he thought she was rich. Finding out she was broke and a criminal ended that real quick. Her condo got foreclosed. BMW repossessed. She moved back in with her sister Donna, who called me to scream about how I was ruining Veronica's life over a mistake. Donna, she committed arson. She was desperate. You don't understand the pressure she was under. The pressure of living above her means? You always were judgmental. No wonder she had to take action. Had to. Like burning down my livelihood was inevitable. Update 4. The trial. The trial was set for 3 months later. In that time, Veronica's entitlement went nuclear. She filed a civil suit against ME for emotional distress, breach of fiduciary duty for recording her crime, and defamation for telling people she committed arson. She demanded $2 million. Her lawyer argued I had entrapped her by not immediately revealing the insurance had lapsed, that I had allowed her to compound her mistakes by not stopping her from filing false claims. My lawyer laughed. She's literally arguing you should have stopped her from committing more crimes? Apparently. She also tried to claim she was still entitled to 40% of the land value since she was part owner of the business. Never mind that she'd destroyed the building on that land. But the best part? She started a funding campaign online. Help Veronica rebuild after wrongful prosecution. She claimed I'd manipulated evidence and was using my wealth and connections to destroy her. My wealth. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment eating ramen because my entire life savings had gone up in smoke. She raised $400 before the platform shut it down for fraud. During pre-trial depositions, she actually said on record, "Tommy owes me for 10 years of building that business. I deserve compensation regardless of what happened to the building." "You mean the building you burned down?" my lawyer asked, allegedly. "We have you on video." Videos can be faked. You confessed to the police under duress. You filed fraudulent insurance claims. I was confused about coverage. The entitlement was breathtaking. She genuinely believed she was the victim here. The prosecution had charged her with first-degree arson, insurance fraud, filing false reports, attempted grand larceny. Trial lasted 4 days. The video was played, her forged documents presented, her Google searches shown. Her defense? She was temporarily insane from financial stress that I had contributed to by not paying her enough from the business. The prosecutor destroyed that, showed her lavish spending, her trips to Vegas, her designer purchases, all while the restaurant she claimed wasn't paying her enough was struggling to make payroll. The jury deliberated for 2 hours, guilty on all counts. Update 5. Sentencing and aftermath. Sentencing was last week. Veronica showed up in a suit I knew she'd shoplifted. Her sister had called me ranting about it like I could do something about her kleptomaniac sibling. Her lawyer argued for leniency. First offense, momentary lapse in judgment, otherwise upstanding citizen. Then the prosecutor brought up the life insurance policy on me. The judge's face changed. "Miss Martinez, you took out life insurance on your business partner without his knowledge? It was for business continuity purposes. 6 months before you burned down the business?" Silence. The victim impact statement was my turn. I talked about my grandfather building that building with his own hands after immigrating here with nothing. About the community we'd served for 18 years. About the 12 employees now out of work. About starting over at 52 with nothing. Veronica actually rolled her eyes during my statement. The judge saw it. "Miss Martinez, do you have anything to say?" She stood up, and I swear to God, she said, "I'm sorry Tommy couldn't maintain proper insurance. This whole situation could have been avoided if he'd been more responsible." The judge's face went red. "Are you blaming the victim for your crime?" "I'm just saying. You're saying you committed arson and fraud, and it's his fault for not having insurance to cover your crimes? Her lawyer tried to interject, but Veronica kept going. I worked at that restaurant for 10 years. I deserved more than 40%. Tommy held me back, refused to modernize, refused to sell when we had the chance. He forced me into this position. Nobody forced you to commit arson, Miss Martinez. He forced me to take action by being stubborn. The judge had heard enough. Miss Martinez, your complete lack of remorse and your continued attempts to blame the victim are deeply concerning. You destroyed a man's livelihood, attempted to defraud insurance companies, and based on evidence, may have been planning worse. 15 years. Federal prison. Veronica fainted. Actually fainted. Her sister screamed that it was excessive, that I'd gotten my revenge, that I should be satisfied now. I wasn't satisfied. I was broke, unemployed, and starting over in my 50s. But at least justice was served. Final update. It's been 6 months since the fire. 3 months since Veronica reported to federal prison. I sold the land. Had to. Needed money to live on. The developer paid $1.8 million, less than the original offer because of the fire damage and the stigma. After paying off the remaining business loans and legal fees, I walked away with $400. Not enough to start over with a new restaurant. Not at my age, not in this economy. I got a job as head chef at someone else's restaurant. It's okay. The owner's young, eager, reminds me of myself 30 years ago. I'm teaching him the recipes my grandfather taught me. At least they'll live on. Veronica's sister Donna still sends me nasty emails. Says I destroyed her family, that Veronica's teenage daughter has to grow up without a mother because of my vindictiveness. Veronica has a daughter. Did I mention that? 17 years old. Living with her dad full-time now. She sent me a message on Instagram. Mr. T, I'm sorry about what my mom did. She's always been like this. It's not your fault. That meant more than any verdict. The restaurant's regular customers still stop me on the street. Tell me they miss Tommy's, miss the Sunday sauce, miss the atmosphere. Some of them cry. Mrs. Patterson, who'd been coming in every Friday for 15 years, hugged me at the grocery store last week and couldn't let go. It wasn't just a restaurant, she said. No, it wasn't. Veronica writes me letters from prison. I don't open them, but the prison monitors tell my lawyer their contents. They screen everything. She alternates between apologizing and begging for forgiveness, threatening to sue me when she gets out, claiming I owe her commissary money, saying she's found religion and forgives me, demanding I put money in her daughter's college fund. The entitlement continues, even behind bars. Her boyfriend, remember him? Actually reached out last month. Wanted to know if I'd testify in his civil suit against her. Apparently, she'd stolen $30 from him too. Told him she was investing it in the restaurant. What did she do with it? He asked. Check her closet for Louboutin shoes. He didn't find that funny. The developer tore down the building last month. I went to watch. Stood there as the wrecking ball hit the walls my grandfather built. Some people would call it closure. I call it another loss. But here's the thing about entitlement. It eventually eats itself. Veronica thought she deserved everything without earning it. Thought she could take shortcuts, burn bridges, literally, and face no consequences. She's got 12 more years to think about that. Probably get out in 10 with good behavior. I'll be 62 then. Maybe I'll have saved enough to try again. Maybe not. For now, I cook someone else's menu and go home to my empty apartment. I'm not happy, but I'm not destroyed. Veronica took my restaurant, my savings, my grandfather's building. But she didn't take my skills, my recipes, my integrity, and she's in federal prison while I'm free. That's something. To everyone asking if I regret not catching the insurance payment in time. Every single day. 3 days. 72 hours between coverage and catastrophe. But that's on me. What's on Veronica is the conscious choice to destroy something built with love and sweat over decades because she felt entitled to more than she'd earned. She wanted $3 million. She got 15 years. These things happen.